Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley. I'm Rev. Kiya Heartwood. So glad to see you this morning. We have a lot of exciting things happening today. But first, we're going to warm up with a good song. It's in the teal hymnal. That's the one you need today. It's number 1018. Come and go with me to that land. Cam's going to help us out. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. Justice! There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. Singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. Good singing. Good morning. And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley, UUCBV, or Brazos UU for short. We are a faith of covenant and not creed. My name is Gay Webb, and I am serving as your worship assistant today. We are a welcoming congregation, which means we celebrate and welcome all people.
people of diverse sexual orientations and gender identities. We also strive to welcome people across diversities of age, ability, immigration status, and belief. We are a congregation working for reproductive justice, which is so needed in this time. So whoever you are and wherever you are on your life's journey, we welcome you here. I have one announcement that has two parts. This week, our Lunch and Learn, which is on Thursdays at noon o'clock with the link on our calendar on the website, we will have Kathy Wheeler, who is the head of our Sacred Space team, and she will bring us an update on construction progress. So come and listen, 12 noon, 12 on Thursday. And then the following week, Darby Lockridge, who's a member of our church and also the member of the Church of the Largest Fellowship, which is the largest UU church, will be doing Lunch and Learn and telling us a little bit about the Church of the Larger Fellowship. So put those 2 dates on your calendar.
Our call to worship this morning comes from Audrey Rich. My heart is moved by all I cannot say. So much has been destroyed. I have to cast my lot with those who, age after age, perversely, with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world. Audrey Rich.
Now, please say with me the words of the lighting of our chalice. We light this chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian and Universalist faith, as a beacon of hope for all who seek justice, dignity, and compassion, and in celebration of the life and truth of meaning we share together. And now our affirmation: love is the spirit of this church, and service is its spirit. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Now you want to turn to the hymnal 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every way, and we see our faces in each other's eyes. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell the story from deep inside, when we listen with a lying mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, when our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the cry of our hearts with name, and we feel the power of each other's faith. When our heart is in a holy place.
This is the exciting part. We are about to have a child dedication. And then after the service today, we're having a goodbye party and celebration for Luna's child dedication, also for Deb and the family leaving, which we are very sad about, but we're going to have a party anyway. Because we're all about the parties. So, I want to welcome you to this joyous occasion of the dedication of Luna to the community of love. So, would you all come up and say Luna's whole name? Like you're introducing her to everybody.
Luna Page Palomores. Mrs.
You all want to say it back?
Luna Page Palomores.
Okay. When we dedicate a child in this congregation, I ask the parents to write a brief job description, a picture of what this child could become that would let them feel they had done a good job as passing on their values. You might say, may this child be just and energetic, thoughtful and kind, joyous and useful. Every family picks different words. Parents, will you read what you wrote for Luna Page Palomars?
When I first see the life I want for Luna, it's a life of choices. I want her to explore and be exposed to different religions, different cultures, different lifestyles. I want her to understand that she can make a difference in her family, her community, and her nation. I want her to know she has a voice, and I want her to have an informed opinion. I want her to be compassionate for those who are less fortunate. I want her to be in a position to help those in need. What I see before me is a beautiful child with a beautiful soul. She is loving, affectionate, and embraces life. She brings out the best in those who love her. She is a blessing to those who touch her life. I want Luna to be a commanding force in her own life and to others who will need her guidance and counsel. She is my heart.
You ready to get picked up? You ready to get blessed? Okay. As I dedicate Luna Page Palomares to this community of love, I call on the four ancient elements of fire, water, air, and earth. And for the earth, we're going to take my stole with the ruby flowers on it. And I'm going to attach this to your forehead and name. May your thoughts be good in the world. May you have creativity and logic, and may your thoughts bring you joy. And then I'm going to attach this from your hand. May your hands be useful. May they soothe and inspire. And may they shape the world. Now, if you touch your feet, here is fun. All right. May your feet walk in paths of the good and the fair, and may you be quick to move from spaces that may harm you. May you guide others toward their own liberation. And then, I'm going to touch this beautiful seashell from the ocean. Your feet. I'm touching this for the flow of water to uplift and carry the baby through life. Take the baby near the child. Okay, so come over here so we're getting as close to this fire as we want to be. Blow this fire again. Just a little bit. Okay. May the fire burn through you in passion for your own life and the lives of others. Now, I'm going to blow some fire. I'm blowing a kiss. Y'all blow a kiss. I'm blowing on you to remind us of the freedom of wind and its mysteries. So everybody, welcome Luna to the congregation. Blow her another kiss. We're gonna make sure. And now's the time in our service where we go and share our joys and concerns. We obviously have a joy that Luna has been blessed this morning. And thank you all for coming today. Anybody have anything they would like to share with the congregation? Come up here.
Terry met Catherine about us. They returned from a trip to northern Italy a week ago Saturday. Unfortunately, about the day they got back, Bob came down with a pretty severe case of COVID. And now, a little bit later, Terry also. So that's our sorrow.
No problem. Thank you for telling me about Bobby and Karen. Go ahead.
I'll just use this mic. I want to say that on the 6th is my wife Kathy's birthday. I'm not permitted to say which birthday, but we will make a contribution in honor of her birthday to the church.
Anybody else have a joy or concern?
In honor of Deb, the joy of getting to meet her so many years ago. And this morning when you came in, I was like, oh, her hair looks so amazing. But that sherbet orange that you committed to for all those years, that beautiful like Deb color that just brought such peace to everybody. It was a beautiful day to meet you, and we are gonna be so happy to see you in the future.
Come on in if you want.
On behalf of our covenant group, of which Claire is part of, I just wanted to tell you that we will truly, truly miss you. You have been a wonderful addition to this community, to our church. And hell, girl, we're gonna miss you.
Those of you people who cannot hold still, or you're trying really hard, but it's getting difficult, I just want to remind you that in the back by Ivy, there are things on a blanket to hang out in case you need the wiggles, or you need to draw, or do something fun, because we want you to have fun. And all ages are welcome in this blanket. And now's the time in our service where I'm going to light a candle for all the unspoken joys and concerns. And then we're going to have a time of silence, the wise silence, like Henry David Thoreau and Emerson called it, the wise silence. And then a prayer from Hildegard. So, and the sound of children is part of it. This prayer is from Hildegard. Fire of the Spirit, life of the lives of creatures, spiral of sanctity, bond of all natures, glow of charity, lights of clarity, taste of sweetness to the fallen. Be with us and hear us, composer of all things, joy in the glory, strong honor. Be with us and hear us. Amen. Blessed be Hashem.
This morning's reading is Commitment by Dorothy Day. People say, what is the sense of our small effort? They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. A pebble cast into a pond causes ripples that spread in all directions. Each one of our thoughts, words, and deeds is like that. No one has a right to sit down and feel hopeless. There's just too much work to do.
This morning I'm talking to you about the first U.U principle. Does anybody know what it is? Somebody want to say? The inherent worth and, go ahead.
The worth and dignity of every human being. Every person should include other beings too.
Yes, it ought to include all the beings. Yeah, in my version it includes all the beings. So, okay. All right. Sorry. Maybe I'll take that one off and talk about it. Okay, so let's say the first principle is the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. I guess they haven't got around to doing the ninth principle, which is all the beings. But we have some other ones that can include other beings. So that sounds pretty good. Everybody agree with that pretty much? Everybody feel like, well, it's really hard, isn't it? What about those people that voted for the wrong people? What about those people in judges' robes that just ruined everything for women everywhere? How are we supposed to tolerate their existence? That's the tricky part, right? So I'm going to talk to you about a famous Universalist today. His name is Reverend Hosea Ballou. And he is like my model for what I wish I could behave like so that I could do the first principle well with everyone. Like most of us are pretty good about getting along with the people that we agree with, but sometimes people just cut in line in front of you, or they take the last seat in the movie and you are ready to sit down, or they brought 20 people to Chewy's and you're sitting there waiting to give your name at the desk and you have to wait another hour. Can I get a witness? Yeah, so how can we show people that we are Unitarian Universalists? How can we behave in a way, write emails, speak to people in a way that shows that we respect their inherent worth and dignity? It is hard. We have to practice. Now, Hosea Ballou was born in 1771. He's from New Hampshire. His parents were from Rhode Island, and they were Baptist. His father was a farmer, like a dirt scrap farmer. They raised the flax that made their clothes. That's how poor they were. And Hosea Ballou was the youngest of 11 children. His mother died when he was 2. So his father was a Baptist preacher, but he didn't always get paid, especially being a Baptist preacher, because we're talking about the 1770s. So what was the main religion in New England at that time? Does anybody know? Those Pilgrim people, you know what they were? Congregationalists, UCC. That's them. That's us at that time. Unitarians and Universalists. We don't really start getting Unitarians till about the time of Hosea Ballou. But in the 1771, so he was a young man during the Revolutionary War. He grew up on a farm. He worked really hard. He was taller than me. He was about 6 foot and about 200 pounds and just muscle. He never went to school. His father taught him to read, and he had one book. Guess what it was? The Bible. And he started studying the Bible really young. His family was completely Calvinist. Anybody raised a Calvinist besides Meg? Anybody else? If you were Presbyterian, you're Calvinist. Okay. So, Calvin, I should just hand the mic to Meg for this. Calvin basically said that all humans are depraved, original sin, something we don't believe in. And that you were either on a list of the saved or a list of the damned. I remember when she explained this to me, I was in shock. We were in the pool, walking laps in the pool, and she said, you know, there's a list of the saved and a list of the damned, and you're on one or the other. You have no control over it. There's nothing you can do about it. I went, what? Yeah, that's Calvinism. So it's a really dark place, right? You're a sinner of an angry God, right? God is mad at human beings because of something Adam did, and you are going to be punished forever if you are on the wrong list. In fact, some people believe that only 1,000 people would get saved ever. I know, think about it. So Hosea is raised in that environment, but he starts reading the Bible, and he's got nothing else to do. I mean, he works on the farm, and he reads. He didn't get to go to school. He briefly got to go to school for like 3 months at a Quaker school in his life. The Revolutionary War happens. It's rough. And he's a Baptist. And they're Calvinists. So nobody can save you. You are either on the saved list or the damned list. And Jesus died to pay a debt for humanity for God. God's mad at people. And so Jesus dies to pay a debt. Does that make sense to anybody? No, it does not. It didn't make sense to him either. So Hosea Ballou grows up, and he hears about this guy named Caleb Rich, who did a sermon. He was a Baptist, but he believed in universal salvation. Many Universalists believe in universal salvation. What does that mean, Kiya? Well, at that time it meant that you would pay for your sins a little bit after you died, but eventually God would take you back into heaven. So eventually you would be saved. Those people are called the restorationists. Hosea, he reads the Bible really hard. He's very good. He's very rational. This is the Enlightenment. People are, starting new countries, and they're being very practical and rational. He's using his brain. He says, God gave you this brain so that you could study the stuff. So people are reading it, he's reading it, and he goes, no, God loves everybody. And there's benevolence in the whole universe. He's out in nature. He's on the frontier. And so he's spending his whole life in nature. He says, at the bottom, God is kind. And God would not burn you in hell. That's a crazy idea. That is basically universalism. Hosea Ballou is the one who came up with that everybody's going to be saved, no matter if they're Muslim or if they live in Africa, they're going to be saved. Everybody. The minute that you die. And those people are called the ultra universalists. Okay. Now, why do I like him so much? Everybody thought he was whack. They tried to put him in prison. They tried to kill him. He talked street. I'm talking street to you. He talked street. He didn't have a fancy education. He didn't talk like the guys at Harvard. He was just an average guy who worked on the farm and who was really strong and tough. And he rode his horse and he preached all over the place. He preached 3 times on Sunday. Every Sunday of his life. 3 times on Sunday, and often once a day at his school or wherever he was working at the time. So most of his sermons were like 35 minutes, so you can feel good about my 15 to 20. Okay? But mostly he talked about the Bible, and he talked about getting along with other people. And he was really good at it. Now, people were attacking him, very educated people that were Calvinists were like, this guy's crazy. I heard his sermon, and I'm going to tell you what I think about it. And they would write a treatise about it, a tract, and put it out, and get it wrong. Of course, misrepresent him. And there was nothing he could do. So what he did, he went to school for a little while, and then he started writing, and he never stopped. So there's more than 1,000 sermons from Hosea Ballou. He fought with Unitarians. He fought with Baptists. He fought with Calvinists. But he never started the fight. He just answered the fight, and he always answered the fight in a mild and loving way. So eventually got in an argument with this guy named Winchester. And Winchester was a Methodist, and then he became agnostic, and then eventually an atheist, which put him in prison, because that's what they did to you then. And when he was in prison, Hosea Ballou visited him, even though this man had written up a tract attacking Hosea Ballou. He always was mild-mannered. He was like, brother, here, let's talk about this. Let's talk about it. And he stayed in the conversations, and he kept his humility, and he stayed close to the ground, and he treated people with respect, and he honored their inherent worth and dignity. And it's something we should emulate. Now, not enough people know about the Universalists, but they are half of our heritage. And most of them were very poor, or they worked for themselves, where the Unitarians were more likely to have money and power, and the taxes paid for their churches. So if you were a Baptist, say, you had to go live on the edge of the wilderness because you would get thrown in prison for being even a Baptist, let alone a Universalist. So they didn't like the hymns that had all the Calvinism in them, so somebody charged Hosea Ballou to write hymns, so he just started writing them. He was just supposed to collect them, but he started writing them. And so there are many hymns by Hosea Ballou. Of course, there's none in our hymnal, but there are in the Shape Note singing book. So, and they're good. And mostly what he said, here's the best story on him. So he's a circuit rider. He's riding his horse, and he's going around preaching in different towns. And he's riding alongside a Methodist guy, and he says, and they're talking theology, because that's what they do for fun. And they're talking about whether or not you're going to go to hell. And the Methodist guy says, well, Hosea, what's keeping me from hitting you in the head and taking your horse if there's no hell? He said, and Hosea said, if you were a Universalist, that thought would never occur to you. So anyway, I just want to give you a heads up about Hosea Ballou. At the end of the summer, when Allison is back and we're having our blessing of the backpacks and school starts, we're going to have a service that's all UU game show. And you will be on a team with people you are not related to, so that we can have a game show and have some fun. So all these people I'm talking to you about this summer will be on the test, but the test will be easy, I promise. The test questions will be like this. Who lived at Walden Pond? Was it Prince or Lady Gaga or Henry David Thoreau? It'll be like that. So don't worry, you don't have to cram for this test, but we will have some fun at the end of the summer. Anyway, anybody have any questions about Hosea? Or he died in 1852. He was a minister for 37 years at the Second Universalist Church in Boston. He and William Ellery Channing were down the street from each other, and they never hung out. They wrote books about each other's sermons, but they never went to lunch, because William Ellery Channing was very smart and educated, and Hosea Ballou was very street and poor and uneducated. So they never hung out, but they should have, because really Hosea Ballou is the first Universalist who was a Unitarian. And that leads us to why we got in the same camp in 1961. So, anybody got any questions? I hope this was not too boring. I hope you had fun. Okay, we'll go on. And now we're going to have an offering.
I have a question.
I want to invite Meg to. Yeah.
Oh, well, why did it take the Unitarians and the Universalists so long to get together?
Because they fought, they did it a couple of times almost. Okay, the question was, why going to take so long for the Unitarians and the Universalists to get together? In my opinion, from the reading that I did in the classes I took, I'm not saying this is for sure true, but it seemed to me that they did try a number of times, but that, like the way it turned out, the Universalists were very suspicious that the Unitarians would take over their churches and kick Jesus out, because they always kept Jesus. They included other religions and influence just like the Unitarians did, but they, at the end, it was a power thing. And the Universalists lost the power war. It was the kids, the LRY, that joined together first in the 50s that led to the two denominations coming together. And I can point you to some books if you want to read about it. But yeah, they started agreeing about lots of things. The Universalists got into spiritualism and stuff, and the Unitarians were not into that in the 1900s. There was a lot of back and forth until they eventually worked it out and joined up. But it's a complicated history and interesting. The theology is basically not exactly the same, except both don't believe in original sin. Both get inspiration from outside sources, from other religions other than Christianity. That's it, pretty much. Universalists let women be ministers in 1860s, so we like them a lot. And the Unitarians, it took them a lot longer. I hope that answered the question enough. And anybody else? All right, let's move on. Meg's going to come up and sing you a song. Go ahead and do that, and then we'll sing while you're doing it.
Now let an offering be taken to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and a hope, for we are the keepers of the dream. This church shares the proceeds to the offering bank donation every week to support important nonprofit organizations. This month, we are proud to support Just Texas, JUSTTX.org, Faith Voices for Justice. This organization is building a grassroots movement of progressive people of faith and faith leaders from diverse religious traditions to speak publicly and politically in support of reproductive justice, reproductive freedom, and LGBTQ equality for all Texas. Be as generous as you can. Thank you.
Don't you wish you would fly? Don't you wish you would fly high? Don't you wish you would fly? Fly away up to the house of love. Don't you wish you'd see? Don't you wish you could? Don't you wish you'd see? Don't you wish you'd see? Don't you wish you hold the keys to the house of love? Yeah, the house of love is where they play the blues and nod your head, 'cause you pay your dues. Yeah, the house of love has got a crooked floor, but you find your feet once you're through the door. Don't you wish you'd say? Don't you wish you could? Don't you wish you'd say? Don't you wish you'd say? Don't you wish? I'm gonna lay you down in the house of love. Yeah, the house of love has got a great big
yard, you can just sleep out there. If your heart's too hard and you got a cool dark well with a silver cup, you take a sip of that. And your soul is up. There's angels playing cards in the living room. There's angels in the back trying on perfume. There's angels on the roof standing on their hands. There's angels on the porch laughing at your plans. Well, don't you wish you'd find? You wish you could. Don't you wish you'd find? Don't you wish you'd find? Peace of mind in a house of love. Yeah, house of love. They lay your burdens down and they welcome you when you come around. Nobody judging you, giving you disgrace. They'll say the sweetest things right to your face. And don't you wish you'd be? Don't you wish you'd be? Don't you wish you'd be all safe and free in a house of love?
That song's by Reverend McBurkham. Definitely a joy, but I don't know why I came
That was
before.
good dancing. I'm gonna turn around
May
and
we
come
give
back.
thanks for these gifts that we have gathered and for those we received and for each other. May your generosity return to you 100-fold.
So we're gonna sing hymn number 921. You might know it already, called Lean on Me. Because we're all in this together, y'all. We've got a long struggle. We got a lot of work to do in the world. And we gotta not despair.
Talking of love, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know a day, always tomorrow. We don't need, when you're not strong, I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Oh, it won't be long. I'm gonna be somebody to lean on. Swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow. For no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Oh, it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. That you might have a problem that you understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Oh, it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Yeah.
Y'all give it up for Ken and play guitar. All right. Please hang out for the party and for Dad after the service and for Luna.
please join me in extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment we carry in our hearts until we gather together again. Go in peace. Enjoy food and each other's company. Remember the way of the wind and breathe and blow. Remember the way of the fire, sparkle and glitter and glow. Remember the way of the water and ebb and flow. Remember the way of the earth and grow. Go and party.